Voice of the Sea, learning from experts across the ocean.
Welcome to Voice of the Sea.
In this episode, we're at the Kahekili Herbivorous Management Area in Maui, learning about how the protection of algae-eating fishes is affecting the corals. We talk with NOAA researchers and longtime fishermen to hear about the role they play in managing the local ecosystem. We start off with NOAA Coral Fellow Luna Kekoa explaining about the unique way the management area works.
We're at Kahekili Beach Park on Maui. How is this place special?
As of right now, it's the only place in the world that is managed like this, where we just manage a specific type of fish. So we're just regulating herbivores. So there's no take of any herbivores, which is fish that eat limu. We talk to the fishermen, it's like putting goats in their yard. The goats go out there and eat all the grass. These herbivores are the fish that eat all the limu in the ocean and help take care of the corals. When this area was created as a management area, part of managing it is trying to figure out how people are using it, and this survey helps to look at the fishing effort that's happening here. So what people are catching, how much they're catching, and are they complying with the regulations. So this survey helps us to better manage this area with that understanding of what people are extracting and are they complying with our regulations, and if they're not, why or why not. How we collect our data is just we'd come out to the beach and kind of just check it out, see if there's anybody fishing. If we do see people fishing or diving, we kind of just wait till they come out of the water and then look at what they catch. Like, do they have he'e, or like what kind of fish? And if we cannot tell what kind it is, we usually try and ask them. Usually fishermen don't get too nuts. They're just like, oh yeah, this is what I caught. And from that, we write it down, we record the data, how much fishing gear they have. So do they have like 2-3 prongs or a spear gun or 2 fishing poles? And how long were they fishing for? And that data gets sent to the UH Fisheries Co-op, and they go and statistically analyze this data and have presented out some preliminary data that has shown like the compliance rate. And it helps us to kind of figure out like our fish populations are kind of going up and down. So we see certain fishermen catching those species and we're just like, that might be the reason why the data is showing up like that. So it's just another way to validate what is happening in this area.
So if this is a no-take area for the herbivores, and what happens if you see a fisherman with one of those herbivorous species, what do you do?
At least for me, just tell them like we have our fishing regulation books, and it's on page 45 that talks about the rules. You just give them the fishing regulations and tell them like, you may not have known, but this kind of fish is not allowed to be taken here, and this is the reason why. And we're not doe care, we're not here to give you citations or anything, but we're just here to find out what's happening so that we can better manage this place. And usually people take it and they nod their heads and go off. I've never really experienced anybody getting nuts with me yet, so. And it helps having the local fishermen. Like, we have 4 fishermen who are out here doing the surveys. They're all contracted and getting paid to help us out to do this kind of stuff. So that's an important thing, getting the locals involved and having them get paid to take care of their resources.
And Jay, you're one of the fishermen involved in the project. So
Yes, I am.
what is your role?
My role is to help do the monitoring with the surveys and collect the data that is the first steps in for us to do resource management. And us as fishermen, it is our kuleana, our responsibility to do whatever we can. And this is some of the first steps of creating that baseline data so that we can better understand what we have and track the progress and the improvements so that we can continue this type of work in other areas that would help out getting our resources back in abundance. This area used to have abundance of limu. And we used to come and gather limu in this area. We used to do a lot of night fishing, and there was a lot of different species that we could really depend on that we don't have in abundance today. Respecting the fishermen is priority, and that's the way I was brought up. So I really don't taken a real direct approach with the fishermen on the beach. I do it more out of respect because a lot of them that are here are not just doing it for recreation. They're doing it for subsistence. So by me interjecting on their time, that's not what we do. So we usually wait until they're done, or the perfect time that they're taking a break, and then we talk story with the fishermen. And if we don't have that opportunity, then we just stand by and watch from afar. You know, it's giving the space to the fishermen because they're here for subsistence, not just recreation. It is our right as local islanders to fish and harvest for subsistence, but it is also our responsibility to be pono in how we fish and what we take. Most fishermen, I think, practice take what you need. It's a difficult situation now because our fish stocks are really low. So it's hard because the resources is very in high demand. So it's a real difficult situation. But I think all of us in the community, if we can practice self-discipline and self-sacrifice and just really practice hard on what we need, then the future generations will have the resource abundance to carry on forward for many generations.
So you see that there's a lot of hope still.
There is a lot of hope. I believe in the community. I think we have a lot of hope, and we can do this, and it's just who we are. You know, we just have to understand that right now it's time to really practice good resource management.
So you're a fisherman.
Yes, I am.
And you work with Luna to collect data about the fish.
Correct.
That's pretty unique.
It is. This is, like I said, this is one of the first steps, and hopefully we can do this in more areas throughout Maui, Nui, and throughout Hawaii. It all helps for us to better understand our resources from our ocean.
How did you get involved in the project?
We realized that our fisheries that we have in our nearshore waters today are not like how I had when I was growing up. And our kids really are not fully experiencing the possibilities and having those resources that I had growing up. So we felt that we needed to get involved and do things that would change the course and change the direction on our resource management. So if we can malama and take care of what we do on our land, self-sacrifice and self-discipline, is not only about the ocean, it's about what we do on land. And that goes into everybody's home, whatever jobs they do. If they have some kind of relationship to what happens on land, we need to do the right thing. We cannot keep doing what we're doing because the ocean is just getting taxed. Our resources are getting taxed. And
can you tell me some of the land practices that we have that are maybe harmful to the ocean?
Well, the number one is sedimentation. We have a lot of sedimentation, urban runoff, injection wells. The list goes on and on the amount of threats that our ocean resources face.
So as an individual person, what can I do to help that?
Well, the simplest way to put it is our ocean is our icebox. And it all depends on how do you want your icebox to look. You want your icebox to look empty and dirty, or you want your icebox to look full and abundant.
The University of Hawaii's Sea Grant College program focused on Hawaii's coasts and its communities through sustainable development, safe seafood supply, sustainable coastal tourism, hazard resilience, and healthy coastal ecosystems. Hawaii's Sea Grant.
Welcome back. We're with NOAA Coral Fellow Luna Kekoa, learning about the positive relationship between herbivorous fish and coral growth.
Luna, can you talk to me about why preserving the herbivores on the reef is good for the ecosystem and is good for the fishermen in the end?
So that's a hard thing to explain to some fishermen because it's like, oh, if we're not going to take the fish, how is it helping us? But protecting these fish, the herbivores that eat the limu, they're out there taking care of the algae, which is preventing light to get to the corals, which is houses for the fish. So if you explain the corals as houses for the fish, the fishermen understand, like, if no more house fish, they're not going to be in this area. So you need to take care of their house. And this is one way, like, these fish, their role is to be out there eating this kind of limu. So if they're out there doing their job and we're leaving them there to do their job, you're supposed to have more fish because their house is taken care of. So it's just trying to make it relevant to them and how they think. They don't understand conservation and like coral anatomies and stuff, but they do understand that fish need a place to live. The next generation of Kanaka coming up, they have that education side, they have that Western science, but they also was raised with their culture. So they become the bridges in these areas where culture and science can meet together, and it's through those bridges that I feel communities and islands are gonna move forward to take care of their resources. We have some preliminary data from our fish surveys that have shown increases in parrotfish, the uhus, and that's a good sign that we're feeling good about.
How did you get involved in this job that you have now?
This job kind of came about because I moved to Maui because my wahine was hapai and she was moving, and I found a job working with the state. And through the state, they said that we're going to have a NOAA Coral Fellowship, and it's going to be in West Maui with this herbivore area, and that they wanted somebody who was local, who could work with people to have that job, and I applied for it and I got it. So it's been just a path on life kind of doing this.
What is your educational background?
I went to school in University of Miami for marine science and biology.
Oh, wow.
And then I came home and just started volunteering and ended up where I'm at.
And did you fish and stuff growing up?
Yeah, fishing, diving, picking limu. I mean, it was part of our lifestyle, and that's why I wanted a job that could keep me in the ocean. Like, this is my second home kind, so if you can get a job where you're happy, you'll live a happy life.
So you went to University of Miami and learned about the science of fish in a tropical place, but somewhere really different than Hawaii. And how did that complement what you already knew about, you know, this area and where you live and you grew up?
It's different because, like, we live in the Pacific Ocean, but over there it's the Atlantic Ocean. So when I went diving over there for the first time, I saw like different species of uhu. They had spiny lobsters too, and I found out about fire coral. We know more fire coral over here. I mean, it's all different kind of stuffs that I got to learn over there, and I come back with a new way and a new perspective on how oceans work and how the Atlantic Ocean works versus Pacific Ocean. The species there and the species here, it's a good comparison and a way to learn and bring back that to here to support whatever we have going on here.
And as scientists, how do you know that preserving the herbivores is going to be good for the other fish and the corals?
There has been studies showing that when you have bigger population of herbivores out there grazing, that the algae cover decreases and the coral cover increases. So, I mean, there have been studies shown. This is like a big experiment of that now. So we're testing out that hypothesis in this area to see, like, will it help the coral recover? And one of the reasons why this place was chosen was because it still has a chance. Like, there has been a decrease in coral, but not bad enough to where it can't be saved. So we're just trying this technique here to see if it'll work.
And then what else are you doing?
There's the Kaanapali Makai Watch that provides education and outreach. They go and follow fish. They track how many times they're biting and how much they're able to take from it. We do fish counts and fish surveys out here. We do coral surveys to see what the fish populations are doing, as well as the coral, like how is the coral changing through time and what's the percentage that we have now versus what it was.
And do you have any results of that so far?
At least from the coral cover, we decreased from about 50% to 30%. So that's why this area was chosen as a place that we can try and work with to get it back to pristine conditions, or at least better than what it is. There's signage along the beach. I think there's like 12 or 13 signs along this 1.5 mile stretch. One down at Mala Wharf that just, in a regulatory kind of sense, says what is legal, what is illegal. If you can see on the sign over there, we attached some more friendlier ways to explain what the rules are, and with pictures so that people can see what the fish look like and stuff.
The Curriculum Research and Development Group in the College of Education at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. CRDG's training roots go back over 40 years. Through professional development programs, curriculum workshops, research on teaching methodology, individualized school and district training, and so much more. The Curriculum Research and Development Group, improving schools, improving education. CRDG.
Welcome back. We're at Kahekili Beach Park on Maui's west side.
I wanted to take a look at this just so we could see some of the different fish you've been talking about, Luna.
Yeah, this is a measurement guide for the regulated species. So we have a couple of species here in Hawaii that are regulated, and it's just a little ruler, so it folds up. It's good for fishermen because it fits in their pocket kind of, they can just bust it out and kind of check out, hey, this size fish is supposed to be, so an ulua is 16 inches for sale. So if I want to go and sell an ulua, 16 inches needs to be. Another good thing is people ask like, oh, if no can catch herbivores, what I can catch. So the uhu, no can catch, the manini. But in this area, we have people catching hole-holes, moanas, vekes. People have caught some ama-amas here. We had one person catching the papio and stuff. So, I mean, people have been catching different kind of fish, and it's just a good way to get fishermen to be like, hey, this is something I can use. So when you go up to talk to them, it's a good little gift to give them for talking and spending time with you.
I didn't realize that there was a minimum size for the he'e, 1 pound.
Yeah.
Why are there minimum sizes for the different species?
It takes them a certain time to get to a length where they can reproduce. So most of the studies have been shown like at this particular length, at least half of the population is able to reproduce. So that's like where you would want to try and protect, making sure they at least can get to that length before you start catching them. Some of the delicacies like oama, if you flip it over. So here we have veke and oama. The minimum size is 7 inches, but during oama season, which is like the baby, you're only allowed to take 50 of them.
And people really like the oama. They're good bait fish. And
they're good bait fish, but it's also good to eat and stuff. Like you can fry it up. So, I mean, cannot stop people from eating, but there's ways that we can try and help to manage the resource.
So this is the part where we get to take a look at what it all means. How is the protection of the fish actually helping or not?
Yeah, so it's all preliminary data. It hasn't really been analyzed fully yet, but this is just gathering like what we've gathered so far. So it's just putting out like raw data. So like you can see our surgeon fish population is kind of going up and down, but our parrotfish population is going up. So one of the good things about the krill survey is that we can actually go and see like what is coming out from people are catching. Here you see like 13 kala was caught and 1 palani, and those are 14 different herbivores. The krill survey helps us to figure out like, is it because maybe we're extracting them that is happening? Another good correlation is the parrotfish population is going up, and we didn't have anybody catching uhus in this area. So it's just a good way to like check and balance, like, are we doing a good job? And then, oh, what's happening? Are we not counting the fish, or is there a reason why we're not seeing the fish? And it's just a way to figure out what's happening.
So these are actually from the water, observation data, and then these are what was taken out, what you know was
catch
removed.
data.
Oh, very cool.
Our surgeon fish population, when the surveys first started in November of 2007, we were at a level of about 14 fish per survey. And as time went by, you can see January in 2010 is kind of when this herbivore area started officially being promoted and education outreach started happening. And you can see it's about the same level, maybe a little bit less. But as time went on, the sturgeon fish population sort of dropped a little bit. And here, we're in September 2011, we have about 12 fish per transect that we're seeing out there of sturgeon fish. So it's just a decrease of, three fish per transect, but it's still a decrease. So it's trying to figure out why that's happening. And if you correlate it to like our catch data that's happening, you can see like sturgeon fish are being taken out. So it kind of helps us to explain what's going on here, and that this is just sporadically taken. So there might be more fishing and more pressures out there. The parrotfish population. So we started off in November 2007 again with about maybe 2.5, seen about 2.5 fish per transect. And as time went on, in January 2010, we were a little bit less than 2.5, so maybe about 2 fish per transect. And here we are in September 2011 with about 4.5 fish.
And so on here, you're seeing that sturgeon fish being taken by the fishermen, and then when you go in the water, you don't see the population growing.
Right.
But here you see no parrotfish being caught, and when you go out in the water, you can see the parrotfish population growing.
Right.
That's really cool.
But it's good to know, like, if you leave them alone, you will have a growth. At least see some coming back.
You have the Hawaiian tide calendar here that shows the tides and the different moon phases. Can you tell me a little bit about when are good fishing phases of the moon, like when it's a full moon? No?
I would say, like, fishermen's fish when they're comfortable. So you have people loading their boats and getting ready to go when it's windy and it's rainy, and it's just like, oh, that's the time when this specific fish is out there. So just because the moon calendar says like, oh, it's not a good time to fish, doesn't mean people wasn't fishing. If you needed fish, you could go fish. So it's just it's a guide that will help guide like what the weather is going to be, what the ocean conditions are. But if you're hungry, you're going to go and fish. I think nowadays, everybody kind of interprets it in their own way, and that's kind of how I interpreted it. Everybody dances hula their own way.
The University of Hawaii Sea Grant College Program, helping coastal communities of Hawaii and the Pacific through research, education, and outreach. Serving the community, from elementary to graduate students. Hawaii Sea Grant. Turn your love of the ocean into a lifelong career. Join NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, as we unlock the secrets in the deep oceans, track rapidly moving storms, model climate trends, protect and preserve our marine resources, and so much more. It's all in a day's work at NOAA. Find a career that makes a world of difference, enriching life through science, service, and stewardship. NOAA.
The Curriculum Research and Development Group in the College of Education at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. CRDG has been providing quality educational programs and services for over 40 years, serving students, teachers, parents, educators, and experts around the world and here in Hawaii. The Curriculum Research and Development Group, improving schools, improving education. CRDG.
Exploring Our Fluid Earth is a dynamic curriculum developed by the University of Hawaii's Curriculum Research and Development Group, teaching ocean science concepts through the disciplines of physics, chemistry, biology, and ecology. Exploring Our Fluid Earth is now available freely online. Find out more at exploringourfluidearth.org.